quietly into the night. We will not vanish without a fight. We're going to live on.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is I, it is he, it is me, it is P-double-D, Etepwakuin, and the place to be reviews. Right here with all of yous, I am joined this evening by Nick Utam, of course, of World Class Bullshitters, the last standing Samoan. How you doing tonight, brother?
I'm doing good, man. I'm excited. I'm real excited for tonight.
Yes, and tonight is a very special night, and we saved the best for last. Obviously, this evening we are joined by the very lovely, the very talented entrepreneur, wrestler, Miss Jennifer Thomas.
Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for having me, both of you, tonight. I'm excited to talk to you guys and share a little bit about myself. So thank you.
I am honored, and I've been pushing this and saying, I'm having this Jennifer Thomas on the show for a couple weeks now, because since we confirmed the date, and everybody's like, wait, how did this happen? How did you get her to come on? How did you get her to come on your channel? I said, I commented on a picture on Instagram, and she said, she did a podcast. I'm like, well, I have a podcast. Like, you want to come on? She's like, and surprisingly, she said yes. I'm like, well, I'll be damned.
I'm telling you, Instagram works wonders. Those DMs, I'm telling you, I've had many opportunities come through to me through Instagram alone.
That's really good. Yeah. Pete told me about this before, and he's like, "Hey, man, you down for this?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm okay with it. Yeah, I got no problem. Let's do it, man. Let's have a good time."
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Absolutely. And let's see, let me acknowledge the chat here. We're joined by Keely Chow, Angelus Draven, and Warlord Titan Tiberius. Hail to thee, gentlemen. Hail to the chat. Hail, Fandom Menace. Thank you all for coming out this evening. Be sure to bitch slap that like button for me if you don't mind. And with that, we are going to, before we jump into Jennifer's segment, we are going to do what we do every week about this time. It is time to go through some headlines. Let me find, where is it at? My goodness, I can't find this. I'm terrible.
Right, go home and get your fucking shine box.
This is what I feel like doing right now, is getting my shine box. All right, we're going to run through these headlines right now. Number one, Henry Cavill signs a 3-movie deal as Superman. Are we excited about this? I think it'll be good to see Cavill back as Superman, because, I mean, let's be honest. If it wasn't Superman for him, it would be James Bond, and I would be all right with either. I think he would be a great James Bond. I do. But I like him as Superman. I think he really, after Christopher Reeve, because Christopher Reeve, I grew up with the Donner.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And but no, Henry Cavill is, I mean, the dude is built like a freaking truck. I mean, he looks like a superhero. That is, he's a good looking guy. I mean, he fits that, that Clark Kent / he put glasses on. Now he's not. I mean, how old is Superman? It like we can't tell with that jawline. And you take them glasses off, you're super. Come on, man.
Well, it's funny you say that the glasses things. Have you been watching The Boys?
I have not. I have not watched The Boys yet.
Okay, because if you look at Homelander, if you see him and then you see the actor later, it's a Clark Kent thing, because the actor's like got really dark brown hair like over his eyes and like was wearing glasses. And I'm just like, it took me a second as he was doing an interview. It took me a second to realize who he was, and he's also Australian as well. And I'm just like, this is weird. This is so strange right now, because I know the face, but it's not. It's so strange. But no, I'm okay with him doing Superman. It's great. He's done a good job already. Because I feel like Reeves is that's the original guy, but I feel like Cavill does bring that classic look back. I hope he can sign a contract with James Bond as well. Maybe do two franchises. Come on, because DC's not Disney, and I think they'll let him do it if he wants to.
Yep, I think so. Let's see. Number 2, The Black Widow possibly delayed. And my question is, will this movie be the next New Mutants? Are we going to have to wait 8 years for, am I going to be in a wheelchair by the time we get to see Black Widow, which is sad because the character's already dead. She should have had a movie 6 years ago, because let's face it, if there's the queen bee of the MCU, it would have been Black Widow. They should have released this movie around the time of Age of Ultron. So it just does the character a disservice to me, is what I think.
I mean, to me, they have been doing a disservice since the beginning, even though she's the one character who has no, she's one of the other characters who has no powers in the group. She still, pulls her weight, does her job and everything, and she gets their respect and all that stuff. But I feel like they've done her dirty as much as they want to promote women and women movies.
They've done her.
They had Black Widow since what is it, Iron Man 2 to 2012.
Iron Man 2, Iron Man 2 and the
Iron
first
Man
Avengers.
2 and then nothing. She was in the Avengers movies and all the other stuff, which was great. But she could have had her own movie in like the second, towards the end of the second phase, or in the beginning of the third phase. So I don't know.
It didn't do the character justice. So no, we need to get that movie out. They need to open the theaters up at 100% though to get the box office they want, and that's what the deal is. Let's see. Number 3. This one's just a quick funny one. Nick Cage Superman was rumored to appear in the next Flashpoint movie. Does anybody really want to see Nicolas Cage as Superman still? That was supposed to happen back in like 2000.
10 seconds. 10 seconds.
Just 10 seconds. Nicolas Cage, like I just want to see him look at Superman and be like, no more drugs for that man, like in Face Off, and give him that line, but as Superman, he's like, where, why, like yelling like he did in Wicker Man or something. I think that would be funny.
God, yeah, just 10 seconds. Just make like the Flash stopped too early, too late, and then he's like, whoops, and then keeps going. Give me 10 seconds and I'll be happy. That's all I want.
Let's see. Number 4, The Walking Dead is ending after another 30 episodes and 4 spin-off shows and 3 Rick Grimes movies. So is it really ending though? Is it? And this is coming from somebody who loves The Walking Dead. Like I love that show, man. It has given me some of my most favorite television memories of the last 10 years. And I've read the comics since 2003 when they came out. And I'm scared. I don't know. It's like, is this gonna, we got like 18 spin-off shows and 37, dangling plots and all this. I don't know. I'm on the opposite. I did not like the show after the second season. Sorry, during the second season. So I'm happy personally to see it go because they killed the zombie genre dead in its tracks. They buried it in cement 8 feet under. Like they really killed it. But hopefully we get something else. And last but not least, Tom Cruise is rumored to be making a cameo or in talks to make a cameo in Doctor Strange 2 as Iron Man, in an alternate universe Iron Man. Now, I thought Iron Man was more than 3 feet tall, but I mean, maybe if he jumps on a couch and yells, Katie, Katie, Katie. Instead, it had to be Pepper, Pepper, Pepper. I don't know. Is he married to Katie in a different dimension still? Is he like, I don't know. Is she escaped? I don't know, man. I don't know.
But it's, I mean, he's okay at comedy. I mean, think Les Grossman in Tropic Thunder. Like he's pretty good at comedy. That was even though the one time he did it. Yeah. I think once again, if it's quick, it'll be really funny. Yeah. And then moving on. So I mean, it could be good. So he was great in the end of Tropic Thunder when he was. Oh my God, was he dancing? Was it Ludacris he was dancing to? Yes. He's Les Grossman. I was like, look at dressed like one of us out there dancing around. Like that was funny, man. Oh, dude. So that's the headlines, and now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the main event, what you've all come for. We are going to talk to Miss Thomas about, first of all, you can start however you want. However, how did you get into wrestling? First of all, let's start with the professional side of it first, and then we'll parlay into what you do now, which is really the most interesting topic that I think a lot of people are going to be, because they don't know about this. It's not, like we said before we came on air, this isn't really, it's not out in the ether as much as it's more so than it was probably 15 years ago.
Yes, I kind of live a taboo life, but I'm trying to change that slowly but surely. But as far as your question, as far as how I started into the wrestling world, it pretty much kind of started where you started with the bodybuilding. I started training in the gym, getting in shape. Never once did I ever think that I'd be on stage, basically, flexing my muscles and, competing. Never. So to make a long story short, I kind of caught that bug, ended up moving to Venice, California, because that's where all the best of the best bodybuilders.
That's the Mecca.
So I started training at the Venice Gold's gym, lifting weights, whatever. Next thing you know, I run into some wrestlers. I didn't even know who they were at the time. Like it was Luther Reigns, Mark Henry.
Luther Reigns.
And then so it's just kind of like crazy how they came into my path and they planted the seed and they said, why don't you become a pro wrestler? You'd be really good at it. And I like laughed at it at first. I'm like, what? Wrestling is so fake. I was one of those
that's like
fake.
That's like that's like the worst thing to ever say to a
The
worker.
worst
like,
thing to say to a wrestler is to say wrestling is fake.
I still, when people say that to me now, I'm just like, I will put you through a table right in this goddamn Denny's. I will do it. Son of a bitch.
Right.
You tip my moons over, my hammy over.
Pete, quit going to Denny's angry, okay, man? We talked about this. We talked about this.
Hey, I thought it was Waffle House, man. My bad.
Fair enough.
So yeah, that's pretty much how it started. And I figured, you know what, why not give it a shot? Because at that time, I really didn't know where my life was going, and I started late in the game. I was 29 when I started wrestling. But I figured, you know what, I'm going to give it a shot. I was listening to lots of Tony Robbins at the time, pretty much all that motivational speaking, you could do anything, blah, blah, blah. And so I decided to go for it. And one of my biggest problems in life was whenever something became difficult, I would have a tendency to quit. So I would start something. I'm like, oh, this is too hard. I give up. And I would try something else. Oh, it's too hard. Give up. Whatever. I made a promise to myself. I said, I swear, I promise that I will not quit wrestling, no matter how hard it gets. I'm 29 years old and I have to start sticking to something. And, my life is going by and I'm not going anywhere. So I kept that commitment to myself. And I started at UPW under the instruction of Rick Bass. He was the promoter at the time, and started training with the Ballard brothers and Tom Howard and Aaron Aguilera. And that was my first training in LA as far as pro wrestling. And I've been at it ever since. I've traveled the world because of it. And I've expanded upon it. And no, I never made it to being a WWE superstar, Trish Stratus, never. It doesn't matter to me because I feel like I'm exactly where I'm at, where I need to be. And I'm happy with what I've accomplished so far. And I have more to accomplish as time continues on. So.
And that's
great.
Awesome. That is I love your outlook on it. That is a positive outlook. And like you said, you've accomplished so much already. And and the best is, like Sinatra said, the best is yet to come. So I mean, and that's awesome. I like I said, we talked a little bit off air about experiences, and who did you really you looked up to, maybe that somebody that you started training with, or another female wrestler in the business, that you saw coming up around you, or maybe it was a little bit, a couple years ahead of you. If you could speak to that a little bit.
Well, I have a funny story. Before I ended up moving to Venice, I remember for whatever reason, I wanted to be China, and I dressed as China for Halloween one year, and I did the whole China thing. And then I was visiting my dad, and my dad bought me a book, and it was an autobiography on China. So in this weird way, China was introduced into my life, where I was connecting with her without even really knowing it, because I had no clue that I was ever going to pursue the wrestling world, and so when I first started wrestling, I really thought of China, because I just loved the fact that she was such a powerful presence. She was a powerful woman, and she could kick guys' asses. I mean, what's better than that?
Oh, yeah.
Wow. So I just loved how untraditional she was. And so she was somebody that I admired. And I got to meet her a couple times, and I was able to do that. And she was an amazing woman. But then when I moved to Kentucky or to Deep South, I got to meet other female wrestlers. And I think the ones that if I could merge 3 female wrestlers, actually 4, it would be a China, Beth Phoenix, Molly Holly, and a Trish Stratus. That combination right there, I would want to embody all that.
Molly was an amazing technical worker. I mean, she was more technically proficient than most of the guys when she was at her prime. It's like she could go out there and do chain like better than probably anybody, I would say. Like she was damn good because she was in WCW in the late 90s as what she was Miss Madness with Macho Man, and because there was him and Gorgeous George, and he had Medusa with him back, and yeah, and I like I said, I remember her in WCW, and then getting to see her actually come into the Fed and get to actually work and showcase what she could do was yeah, that was like the peak right there, I would say, of the women's, was the early 2000s. I mean, they had workers, like legit workers. Like we talked about the difference between women's wrestlers and then the divas.
Right.
It wasn't the divas. That was like you had workers, and we spoke about Beth Phoenix, and like I said, she was one of my hands down favorites in the Fed just because of her look, her persona, her ability in the ring. I mean, she was like, she's built, she's beautiful, she's a kick-ass woman, and it's like she just went out there and handled business. And then you see, she's getting, you put Candice Michelle over on her, and it's like you're tearing down
everything.
It ruins. She's the Glamazon. The Glamazon doesn't lose to like somebody who can't even lift like a 5-pound dumbbell. I mean, I'm sorry. Like I said, I don't mean to disparage Candice, because I'm sure she's a lovely woman, outside of the business, but it was like, you didn't belong in there. That was a spot that you didn't really, it wasn't a good fit.
And that's one of the things that frustrated me about the business, because I thought it was supposed to be believable. Make them actually believable. There's no way in the world that if Beth Phoenix and Candice Michelle were to go at it for real, we know that, it would end within a minute or less. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Right.
Yep.
So I always frowned upon that myself. I'm like, come on now, really? Like, and she's such an amazing talent. Why do you want to? It almost seems like the most talented workers that you have, they're the ones that are being the jobbers. What's up with that? I never got that.
Ask Vince about that.
Well, look. I only answer to 3 people, and none of them are you. I'm senile. I'm senile as hell. I haven't changed my diaper in months. I don't know what's going on anymore.
Like Vince is so stuck. Like, and the thing with them letting and I don't even really follow pro wrestling anymore. The Monday night product to me is unwatchable anymore. I don't have time to watch AEW. It's like, I love WCW, but not in 2020 with all the guys that are like, you're borderline Social Security age, some of you fellas, but I mean, they're still great workers, but it's just like, it's like some of the guys need to hang it up, at some point. It's like, you got to know when. It's like seeing Ric Flair out there still trying to, work before. It's like, it's now, as somebody who grew up watching more NWA than I did WWE, and, watching Mid-South wrestling and shit like that, it was awesome to see Ric Flair anytime. But at the same time, it's like, if you're in the business, that it's like a real life version of that movie, The Wrestler. And I still watch that movie with Mickey Rourke, and that shit makes me cry every time. Like, I mean, that is because you if you're in the business, you understand what that is. It's like when you're used up and they're done with you, it just it's a sad truth of the business. And it's like, there's no big, farewell, hurrah. It's like you're gone and the business moves on and it forgets about you. You're just a cog in a wheel. And that's why you got to make the splash that you can for the time that you're there, and that, to me, that's what it's all about is, and you were talking about the most talented workers getting buried. And I always looked at women like you, the athletic build. It's like, why wouldn't you want to push and build your division around this? This is the prototype. You have your men. You want your men big, and it's Vince McMahon. They got to have huge arms and huge chests. I don't care if they skip fucking leg day or not. As long as they got big arms and big chest, I don't care. That's Vince. That's what he is. And it's like the women. It's like, okay, you've got access to all these athletes, and it's like you just throw models out there, and it's like, I love that. Let's have a bra and panties match. Which, okay, great, but it's like you don't need to delegitimize a great division.
Well, and I think that was also because I remember being a kid back then, and whenever there would be the female model wrestler, it would always be a thing of getting her on Playboy, having her in the new Playboy. Yep. She's in Playboy, go grab it. It was like, and now that doesn't exist anymore. It doesn't happen.
China's issue was the best-selling Playboy, though, I believe, It was. I think she
Yes.
sold more copies than anybody. I still have both of them. I do. I was like, those bitches are probably framed somewhere in a box. But I was like, no, man, that was like, it's like that was you build your division, your women's division around wrestlers, and it's like that had to be frustrating for you, like you said.
Absolutely. It was very frustrating. But I had to change my mindset because I was getting very bitter, very resentful. 1+1 does not equal 2 in the wrestling world. So it doesn't matter how much training you have, who you've trained with. If you don't have the look or the platinum hair or the big boobs or the size 1 waist, you almost feel you're already defeated, and that really bothered me back then. And I'm not about, I understand that sex sells, right?
Yeah.
But I also believe that heart sells and talent sells.
Yeah.
And I feel like Vince was more about sex selling, more so than he was talent. And I believe that people want to see talent. And it doesn't mean that you have to choose one over the other. I think that we can all, I tell you, if you put me with a makeup artist and a hairdresser and whatever, I'm going to be beautiful. Okay. So it's just like, I could be an athlete and be beautiful at the same time. You don't have to choose one or the other. So like, that's how I've always felt. And I just, but I've learned to change my attitude about it. When I would see Kelly walk into, she automatically has a contract. She doesn't even know how to lock up. They're asking me to, work with her and do up and overs and do the drills. I'm like, she has a contract already and she doesn't even know how to lock up, And so it was just kind of like, but I really like Kelly. She's a great person. She had, a lot of, I liked her personality. I liked everything about her. But was she more just an entertainer, model, actress, or did she really love wrestling? Did she really love being in that ring? I question that. I think she was in that ring because it helped her.
Stepping stone.
Yeah.
Yep. Springboard. I want to get into Hollywood. What's the quickest way to get out there and get mainstream exposure? I'll go to the WWE. I'm blonde. I'm skinny. I'm pretty. I have a little waist, big boobs. I smile at the camera. I'm an instant baby face. I go out. I go over, go big for like a year. And then boom, I can get into a TV or movie gig. And I think a lot of them, like I said, a lot that is probably a lot of the motivation for some of these girls. Like when they were doing the diva search, I was always like when Michelle McCool was in there, I was like, she should win. I'm like, she's like an athlete. I'm like, that is an athlete right there. And it's like, you've got, the rest of them are just like, they're just typical skinny models. And to me, I've always been more attracted to the athletic, to like muscular side. I admire that. And being someone who was an athlete my entire life, I respect the effort and the hustle and the dedication that it takes to get that kind of physique. So it's just a natural thing. And like I said, that's always when I looked at wrestlers, I never like understood the psychology of taking somebody like you and, who is obviously like built and can go in the ring and looks athletic, and then saying, hey, I need you to take and put this girl over who's this size. It's like, fuck me, right? It's like Jonah Hill. Fuck me, right? Come on.
But do you think that they think it's a springboard because they know how the wrestling world works? Like it's pretty shady. You don't have a lot of income. You have to like really struggle to get the money. Do you think they want to get to Hollywood so they can get more money and be secure in their, in their life? Do you think that's what it is? Or is it just like, they don't care. They just want to go and be the biggest thing they can?
I think they just want the spotlight on them.
Okay.
So they want the national spotlight. I don't think it really has to even do about the money more than it is, because they're thinking the spotlight and the exposure being on television is going to help them get to other opportunities, whether it be a reality TV show in Hollywood or something else. I don't know. When I first started wrestling, I was under the impression that if you were on television, you were famous signing autographs, that you were, living in a mansion in Beverly Hills with an Escalade parked in the driveway or something, that's what I thought. I had a hard reality check when I started like being really involved in it. I'm like, okay, they're living in an apartment, they're signing autographs, and they're driving their Ford Focus. You know what I mean? Like, where was the money that came with their fame? So fame does not equal money. And that was what I learned about the wrestling business, So
You got to be able to sell merchandise. That's a lot of it. Like a lot of the indie guys, it's like they gotta learn. It's like if you don't have t-shirts, or like I had t-shirts, trading cards, stuff like that. It's like, sell autographed like 5x7s. I mean, we had photo shoots done and stuff. I mean, like I said, we had the shirts, we had all matching gimmicks. It was, and we would sell. I mean, we'd sell stuff like that. It's like I'm not coming here and breaking my back training 3 hours before the show, sometimes the night before, tearing down the ring, training again the next day before the show, and then the day after the show, and then tearing down and having to drive 3 hours home for a $5 and a handshake and a hot dog.
Exactly.
I'm not doing it, because every time I take a bump in that ring, that's like a 25-mile-an-hour car accident. And before a show, I take an average of probably 100 to 200 bumps in training.
Yep.
It's like, hey, do the rope spot again, up on the second rope, backdrop, standing backflips. It's like, and I was 37. Most of the kids I was in this training class with were 22, 23 years old, but I was in better shape than most of them, because and this was a paradigm shift for me. When I got in, I was 28, and I was one of the younger guys in the locker room. I was in there with a bunch of OGs. These guys have been in the business 15, 20 years, and they're the grizzled old veterans, and they're sitting around. They don't touch they don't touch anything to do with the ring. They don't tear up. They don't set up or tear down. That's my job. Even when I was ring announcing, I come to the venue in a suit. I'd change into my gear to set up, change into I had another suit I wore when I announced or managed or whatever. And yeah, it was but yeah, it's a grind. People don't, like you said, I was the same way. I went in and I was like, a year or two into the business, I'm driving a 97 Intrepid with zip tied on hubcaps, and it's like, yeah, Pete Daddy Dollar out in front of the crowd. I go outside, I'm like Billy Broke Ass. It's like, damn, it is. It's a sobering experience when that really that reality hits you, and it's like, I got to do something. There's got to be something I can do. It's like merchandising is one thing on the indies you can do, but yeah, it's a lot of it's just having the right look and getting a break at the right time. Like you said, you bumped into some guys at the gym because you were in an area where people like that flock to. I mean, that is the mecca of bodybuilding, Venice. And it's like, yeah, so yeah, that's the right place. You put yourself in the right situations, And
I had no clue about it either. Like, it wasn't like wrestling was on my plate. It just came to me,
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like ironic how everything just I just believe if you kind of like follow your heart, if you just kind of like, what you want to do, what you're passionate about, you're going to be led to certain things. You don't even have to really search for it necessarily. It's going to come to you, and it's up to you whether you're going to nourish it or not, and that's what I had to do when wrestling came into my life. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm here crying inside the bathroom because I just got body slammed and I got the wind knocked out of me. I want to quit right now. But then I'm like, nope, I kept that promise. I have to keep that promise. And how much do I want to nourish this? So the more you just keep doing it and doing it and doing it, I feel like it becomes deeper and deeper and deeper. And you actually learn how to adapt to what the business requires of you, whether it be running the ropes and just the abuse that your body takes from wrestling.
It's a lot.
Basically I train to kick my own ass all the time.
Getting up like that scene in was that Liar Liar? What are you doing? I'm kicking my own ass.
Yeah.
It is. It's brutal. Training is brutal.
It is a brutal business, so I learned not to call it fake anymore. I'm like, I'm sorry, when you're freaking in the air and you get slammed or suplex, that shit's real. Like, you're really taking that freaking, that bump and your head's going and you have to learn how to tuck your chin, and there's a whole technique involved in how to abuse yourself, basically. So
that's crazy.
I went to we were working in a 14x14 ring. Like I said, I'm 6'3". The dude I was working was 6'5", and I was using, because I was pretty green still, so I was using the Rude Awakening as my finisher, and I had him stretched, or I put 2 steel chairs together, right? When we went on 3, I was too close to the ropes, and he pushed, and I smoked the back of my head on one of the chairs on the way down, and it still caught his back, and he was big enough to where it bent the chair down. But I just laid there. I kind of did the Randy Orton. I kind of laid there and just put my fist down and just kind of looked at him. But in my mind, I'm like, I have no idea where I am right now.
Oh,
I'm like, I don't even know what day it is.
oh my God.
I was like, yep. I think I had probably at least three concussions, 3 or 4, probably, where, I mean, I got steel chairs. Yeah, I got clocked with one from behind that I didn't even know was coming. Nobody even told me. Just got potatoed with it. I was like, yeah, that was fun.
What was that football movie with Will Smith? Was it called
Concussion.
Concussion.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm telling you, after I saw that movie, I never wanted to get in the ring again. Like, I was so scared to take a back bump because I'm thinking, how many have I already taken? And I don't want to go Looney Tunes,
Yep.
10, 15 years from now from all the, because you don't think about it. I mean, all the small ones, you don't really feel it at that moment, but if you add them all together, so it's kind of scary.
And that is a big reason why I'm glad I don't do it anymore, because you see these guys now that wrestled like when we were growing up, because I think we're pretty close in age, maybe. But the generation, you see them now and they're like in their 60s and they're just all crippled up and hip replacements and knees and shoulders, and it's like, no, thank you. It takes so much off the back end of your life. I mean, you might as well be smoking 3 packs of cigarettes a day if you're a professional wrestler, because you're lucky. I mean, these guys, the major head trauma, you're seeing guys that are offing themselves and they're in their mid 40s, and it's like, was it really worth it? I mean, to me, it's sad. Like, I remember when they talked about Crash Holly, when they found him with Stevie Richards, found him face down in his condo, empty bottle of pills and a empty fifth of vodka. And it's like,
well, there's definitely a dark side to the wrestling world.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, any sport where you are put through a lot of physical abuse, I think that there's always a dark side. I mean, I think because of the movie that came out and because of what's happening, I think they're trying to call for a change in the NFL where they start having the guys have like a medical benefits thing for them later on in life. So this way, if they don't have the money, or they're not making it, or they've used it up, or something's happened, they at least can be taken care of medically and be taken care of properly as well, which I think is important. And that I think should be done in wrestling as well. Like, whatever company you're with should have that in place to where, like, even because you're the product and you're the person doing the hard work, you should be compensated and taken care of in the end.
But they don't. They don't even offer health insurance for their talent.
Yeah.
You're
considered an independent contractor, but yet you're signing a contract. Like, somehow they're just getting away with a lot of stuff to where they're not responsible for their talent, and the talent has to take care of themselves. So it's just kind of like a very shady kind of world. But I don't want to talk trash about it because I love WWE. I love wrestling as a whole, but I definitely think that there's areas that need to be changed. I mean, I know that when I was with OVW and stuff, we all talked about there should be a union, like a union being involved, and that's never happened. So it's just, I just think that, if you're a big company and you're making millions and millions and millions of dollars off of us, off the talent, you should take care of your talent. That's how I see it.
Definitely.
Beyond catering and feeding them, it should go beyond that.
Yeah, that to me, that's the biggest crime, is that professional wrestlers are still, like you said, they're independent contractors, but you have to sign a contract, and then you leave WWE and you can't compete anywhere for determined amount of time, when that's your career. Like, people don't realize now that this can be very fleeting. Like, there's a very small window when you can be on top. You can be in, but you might not necessarily be on top. If you're that is a very, I mean, unless you're a John Cena type, that is, I mean, just pretty much transcendent figure. And even though I'm not a fan of his gimmick, I mean, I respect everything that man does, because he does more. I mean, he's like the Make-A-Wish thing and all that. And he's going to transition into hell of an actor. I really think that he's got that Hollywood. He's been in some movies, but it's like he can do the acting side, that once he's done with the business, that's definitely something that he can do.
And do you know where he first started at? He moved from Massachusetts, and he was
he was an employee of Venice Gold's gym. He was
Oh,
working
really?
at Venice Gold's gym, and he started at UPW as well. You know,
Okay.
so in my mind, I'm like, oh, I'm following in John Cena's footsteps. But unintentionally, I didn't know all this, but yeah, he started from the ground up and he worked his way, and I think he deserves all the success that he's been getting.
Absolutely.
You know?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yep. I mean, we won't even hold the Marine against him. We won't hold the Marine against him because he was doing with Robert freaking Patrick. I mean, come on, man.
I think there are 8 Marine movies now or 16. I forget. There's a lot of them.
I know they've had like what was it? I think was it Randy Orton in one of them? Miz was in one of them. It's like they're just drawing people. The Zack Ryder. You want to be in a movie? Zach? Anybody want to be in Marine 17? Hey, wait! They're gonna pull Sabu out of the indie scene. Jennifer, have you ever had I would say the pleasure of working a show with Sabu? Have you ever worked with him?
No, but I've worked with Melissa Coates.
Yep.
Do you know Melissa Coates?
Oh, I absolutely do.
Okay,
I absolutely know she is.
Mm-hmm.
She's Jeannie for him now.
Yes. So I know Melissa Coates from LA, you know, and the bodybuilding world, you know. And then
she won the Jantana in like 90. I think it was like 96 because that was like her debut year. And then she got in with Sabu. It was like what mid to late 2000s. I think it was like post WrestleMania when they did the ECW angle. Because she's been on the scene, on the indie scene with him for a while. He was supposed to put me through a table one night, and I looked at the table and I looked at Sabu. I'm like, no, I'm not. Promoter's like, what do you mean? I'm like, no. First of all, you're not paying me right now. You're just paying me to ring announce. It doesn't even make sense for me to go through a table. I'm like, why would I go through a damn table as a ring announcer? I'm not even commissioner. You know, I'm like, if I was a commissioner, who will make you the commissioner? I'm like, so you can put me through a fucking table? No. And the guy that ended up going through the table, well, they forgot to gimmick the table. So Sabu goes up on the top. It's the big spot. Doesn't break. Sabu is like out of his gourd, like high. He gets pissed, starts. It's I can't remember his name now. He's with Impact. Little short Indian guy, really good friend of mine. His shoot name is Use. He used to wrestle as Hakeem Zayn. I think he might have a belt.
I think I know who you're talking about, but the name isn't coming.
It's like Ranjan Raji or something. He's a super cool guy. He's from Michigan. He's from just south of me. But so he hits him once. Table doesn't break. Sabu gets pissed, starts hitting him. Goes up again. Hits him. Table doesn't break. Finally, Sabu just gets down, hits him again, gets pissed, just flips the fucking table over. And after the match, I'm in the back getting ready for the next one. I go to the promoter. I'm like, that's why I wasn't going through the table. That's why. Eustace come back there. He's like, my fucking ribs, you owe me a drink, man. I'm like, I'll buy you a couple of Jack and Cokes. Hang on, because there was a bar in the back. We were running into a Knights of Columbus Hall in Saginaw, and I walked back to the bartenders. I'm like, give me 4 of them. I was like, my man needs 2. I need 2. I'm like, it hurt me just watching that.
Jeez.
Yep, Ranjan. Yeah, Alex Linkalex Ranjan Singh. That's it. Yeah, that's Use. I knew him as Hakeem Zayn, the Mad Dragon. I used to book him when I ran, was it Absolute Entertainment Pro Wrestling back in the day? We used to be an NWA affiliate, but that was too expensive and there was no payout for it. You know what I mean? We weren't getting any extra draw or money out of it. So, but no. So yeah, the professional wrestling it's a crazy business. Have you ever had any like bad experiences with anybody like that you worked with or in the locker room?
I have one story that stands out in my mind, and it was with her name was Alicia Fox.
Oh, okay. Yep, I know you're talking about.
Yes, I trained with her out in OVW, and I remember I had told her something in confidence, and she went and straight right when I told her that, she went and blabbed her mouth to somebody, right? And then like soon after that, we were in the ring and we had a match together, okay? And I remember this moment where like, okay, this is it. Like, it's payback time. Like, am I going to shoot on her? Or, or am I going to be nice, Jennifer, and just get over it? And so I remember when I snap mirrored her over and I'm like, okay, this is the time for the kick in the back. Do I really kick her in the back or do I, work, pull the kick? Yeah. And I was being, I really kicked her. I really kicked her.
Oh, shit.
I'm like, this is it. You betrayed my trust. We're in the ring now, and now it's my time. And that's, and my name back then was Karma too, so it goes around, so I justified it. And I remember after the show, she went running off to Al Snow in tears saying, "Oh, Jennifer, she doesn't know how to wrestle. She freaking stiffed me, blah, blah, blah." I'm like, "No, I didn't stiff you. I freaking did that with intention, okay?" Yep. Like,
I was making it look good.
Right. Believable,
right? But she was just pretty.
Yeah, she was just pretty. She knew how to do that little handstand fling thing off the ropes and whatever.
That was it.
That was it. But we made up afterwards and whatever, and we're cool with each other now. But I just remember that was one moment where I had to say, you know what, I don't like you, and I'm gonna show you how much I don't like you. I picked that. That's what I did.
Damn.
Karma. We're not talkers. We actions speak louder than words with Karma, right?
Right.
So that's how I get away with everything.
I'm terrified and excited at the same time. No, that's hilarious. But it's funny. It was Alicia Fox too, because she was always the one I was like, "What? How did you get it? Like, how? It's just like some people you look at them, it's like, how did you end up?" It's like that Morgan Freeman moment where he's narrating. It's like, "I bet you're wondering how I got here. It's a long story." That was more Cleveland.
But what's so funny is that she stuck around for a long time.
Yeah, she did.
Until recently, I haven't seen her, but she was there for a good, I don't know, 10 years.
she did. It's like she held on. It was like you can't just. There's like one of those people. That's like it's like they almost. If you've seen the movie Office Space, they just forgot she was on payroll and they just kept sending her a check until they fixed the glitch. What do you mean? We fixed the glitch. We stopped payment.
Right.
But no, that's something, especially today, to hang around with the Fed that long. I mean, think about the transition in their programming and what they do over the course of 10 years. I mean, it changes with the trends and stuff. Leo Red's mad at me. He said, "Leave Alicia Fox alone." He gets on me. He gets on me when we take shots at Brie Larson, and now it's Alicia Fox too. I've seen Leo Red. I'm not gonna mess with you, bro.
Really?
He's a big dude. Yeah. Like I said, my only hope to be to outrun him.
Oh, jeez.
And my fat ass ain't running too much. Let's be honest, man. It's like that's my daddy. You gonna run away if a monster comes as its son? No, that's why daddy has a handgun. I'm like, I don't run from shit. I am too old to run away, and I'm too lazy to fight now. I'm like, no, monster comes, we're taking care of business. We got hollow points for it, buddy.
That reminds me of the movie Major Pain, where the little kid has the monster in the closet and he shoots it 4 times.
I love that. My finger hurts. Let me see your other hand. What are you doing? I'm gonna take your mind off that finger that hurts. Fucking Damon Wayans was brilliant in that movie, man. Oh, that's a classic.
He's so good.
But so have you had any Hollywood aspirations or any acting that you've done?
I've never cared about the red carpet or being part of the Hollywood scene per se, which is, I don't know, weird because I've lived out here in LA for since 2008, and I've never really been into it. I mean, I go to the red carpet parties and stuff, when I'm invited, but I've never really pursued acting. I know a lot of pro wrestlers do move out to Hollywood to pursue acting, but I've never been one of them. I don't know. I don't know why.
I'm kind of shocked that you've never done any stunt work or anything like that, because I mean, hell, you could have been one of the Amazons on Wonder Woman. I mean, think about it.
Yes.
They did seriously.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, she's sitting there throwing the guns up. Yeah, I mean, seriously.
Well, I did try out for American Gladiators. I did do that, but I was too small. Because I guess there was another girl, Tangi Johnson. She was a fitness girl, and she
I know Tangi. I know she is. Yeah.
She got injured right away, not soon after the show started, and we're both short. I mean, we're built, but we're short. And I think that they wanted more the Amazonian, 6'5" type of just.
That's they brought Robin Coleman in.
So yeah, I did try out for that, and then I was asked by American Ninja to do like a tryout, and I looked at that obstacle course. I looked at that course, and I'm like, oh my god, no way. And I didn't even bother. I didn't pursue it, you know.
Some of those, because even I look at those courses, I'm just like, how did you get from one end to the other? What magic did you perform before you did this?
No kidding.
What sorcery is this?
No, just because some of the stuff is just like, I mean, it takes them like 8 minutes to get across the course, but it's like, how did you train for this particular portion of it? Like, there's no way you can train for that.
Yeah.
What did you do?
Been in CrossFit for who knows how many years before they like did that course. That's what I'm thinking. You know, I'm not a CrossFit kind of girl. I'm more straight up traditional bodybuilding.
Just lift weights.
Yeah, exactly.
I tried CrossFit and I was like, and then this is when I was lifting real heavy. I was like, you know what? No, I'm good with all this. I just give me my barbells and my iron, and I'm good. I don't.
You mean you don't want to get up at 4:45 in the morning and throw up immediately?
Yeah, no. I was eating like to maintain my weight. It was like 8,000 calories a day, I think. To maintain that weight, because I'm normally like I guess it would be like is it an ectomorph physique? I'm like tall and lean, and like I said, I normally am just walking around like healthy and not chubby, about 210, and I bulked up to like I went from 200 to 245 in about 8 months with no juice or anything, just lifting and eating like a fucking maniac. I mean, my boss, when I was doing finance, he would let me take 2-hour lunches to like train and go lift and tan and go shower before I came back to my office. I mean, but when I got into the wrestling business, he was part owner of a promotion I worked for. And then he hired me to do finance and sell cars for him. So I was doing that, you know. Oh yeah. He asked me, he says, what do you do? And at the time I was working in a furniture warehouse, and he's like, what do you do? I said, I just work in a furniture warehouse a couple of days a week, and I wrestle and do wrestling shows. He goes, you want to sell cars? I'm like, what the hell? I sold pontoons and nobody needs those, so I can sure as hell sell cars. And speaking of getting into lines of work that are off the beaten path for me, now Jennifer has another side to her wrestling career, and this is the very interesting side of things. Now we're going to talk about session wrestling, and I'm just going to let you take it away. And to the audience who's not familiar with this, I'm going to let experience speak here.
Yeah, so I just recently found out that WWE has a new thing that they're starting called Raw Underground. and I'm like, okay, I'm the real underground here, because as far as like, you know, I know that there's different branches of whatever, but basically session wrestling and how it all started for me, basically it's an underground world of wrestling where we get paid money to pretty much do everything that we're doing WWE style. It's just that we don't have an audience. We don't have the fame. We don't have the autographs. We don't have all that, but we do have a fan base. It's just under the radar fan base. Everything's kind of under the radar. And that comes with private wrestling. And it's usually where a guy challenges a woman to wrestle them, and you get paid to kick the guy's butt. And I absolutely love that. Again, China, I think of China. And so we meet one-on-one and we wrestle. We make money from that. And there's a lot of us that do that. And there's even like, you know, pro bodybuilder, pro wrestlers, pro whatever. It's just that they have to give themselves another name because they have to keep it under the down low, because they don't want to get caught by, you know, the PC or the IFBB judges or WWE or whatever. So it's a taboo world. But in my mind, I've never had a problem with it, because in my mind, I'm getting still paid to do what I love to do, which is wrestle. Yeah. And it's like getting paid to do my homework, whatever I learned in class that night. Now this guy wants me to do it, and I'm like practicing the holds that I learned in class, you know, and to me, it just like it worked hand in hand together. So it made sense for me to do it. Plus, it allowed me the freedom to continue my training and not have to worry about getting a real job where I'm clocking in, clocking out. So,
And then there's different branches of it. So you got the private one-on-one wrestling, and then you have the custom videos where you have fans or people that want you to create a match for them, and it's like a scripted match. They say, "Hey, Jennifer, I want to see you wrestle Desi, and I want to see Desi dominate you, and then at the very last second, you get her with a roll-up." Okay, sounds like a typical pro wrestling kind of match. Why not do it? The only difference is I'm getting paid 3 times the amount of what I would be doing at an indie show or whatever. Yeah. So why not do it? But unfortunately, if WWE or mainstream companies find out about it, you're kind of looked down upon because, oh, she does some custom videos over here or whatever. And that upset me. That upset me because I felt I was doing nothing wrong, you know? So that's kind of like the world that I've been in, but I've still kept my interest in pro wrestling too. It's not like I went completely down underground. I'm like, you know, up here one moment, down here another moment, and I'm just kind of like, I love both. I love being in front of an actual audience and being able to perform. My heart, I like to perform, you know, and unfortunately, we're not able to do that in my little underground world of custom videos because you only got one camera guy and you got the person that you're wrestling, and that's it. So, you know, it's an interesting world. I've been blessed with that world, but I've decided to start a women's organization or a promotion, and it's called Women on Fire. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to merge the underground with the mainstream. So those custom videos. That's
awesome.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
So,
that is probably the best idea right there. Because you already have people who are involved in the niche of the underground stuff.
Yep.
And you're bringing in people who want to be part of it, who want the custom videos.
Yeah.
And you're just making more money in the end, and you're making it more mainstream, which is, you know, that's amazing. That's awesome.
Yep. I'm getting goosebumps as I'm thinking about it and talking about it with you guys because really, like, I see.
It's great.
Because what I'm seeing is I'm seeing something where I can turn these custom matches into a pro style event, meaning like these girls could come out. I just did one in Las Vegas 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And my vision was to each girl feel like a superstar. They got the lights, they got the fog, they come to the ring, you know, and they've never had this before because all their lives we're doing things in a garage somewhere or on the living room floor, you know.
Yeah.
And the fans are making the show. So it's like an interactive show because the matches are coming from the guys that want to see a certain storyline within that match, you know? So it's almost kind of like the fans are the creators of the show, and we make that show happen.
And that's
wonderful.
Awesome. That is
really good.
Great. And you had some talented ladies out there at the who all was out at the last show? Because I know some of the names, but just go ahead and say who you had out there. I want the audience to hear.
Oh well, we had, you know, what's so funny is I have girls like behind the scenes talent. Like I love it because people don't know. So I'm colliding the underground with the mainstream, right? So I have pro wrestlers there that are in disguise because my world doesn't know of who these pro wrestlers are.
Right.
You know, and then they get fascinated. Like I had Shelly Martinez be the sexy nurse, right?
Oh, so wow, really? Nice.
So my world doesn't really know who Shelly Martinez is.
Yeah.
You know, because so to make a long story short, I start a feud or a story within a story, basically. Within the show, I start a story where the nurse gets pissed off at, you know, a super fan. A super fan is bothering her or whatever. Next thing you know, that they end up in the ring, and now everybody's shocked. They're like, holy shit, this nurse knows how to freaking wrestle. You know, because they didn't know it was Shelly Martinez.
That's awesome.
Who used to be with ECW and TNA and whatever. And then I have Katie Lee Burchell. She was the bartender. So you got Katie Lee Burchell.
She was one of the most underutilized talents Vince ever had during the time.
Oh my God.
Like, why do they not push this woman? She is freaking great in the ring.
I know she is. She's
Jesus.
wonderful. I know. So, so it's kind of, it's a lot of fun, and it's very interesting. But last year I had Harry, he has a missing leg, but he's a pro wrestler, right? He was wrestling for Sin Bodhi for the Freak Show Wrestling. And I made it to where he was part of the audience, and another pro wrestler was next to him, but he played the bully. So Harry accidentally spills a drink on the bully. The bully goes, "What the hell?" Blah blah blah. And starts this huge thing. Everybody that was there stood up like, "Oh my god! Oh shit! What's going to happen? This poor handicapped dude, what's he going to do?" They were like on the phone about to call the cops. And next thing you know, they start going back and they take it into the ring. And Harry, with one leg, starts jumping off the ropes and doing all this crazy shit.
Nice.
Oh my god, that's wonderful.
That's freaking great.
Fun,
Yeah, it kind of reminds me, and I've never watched it, but I've watched the Netflix show, and I don't know how much is different, but it kind of reminds me of Glow a little bit, where you're trying to start from the bottom with these women and try to merge these two things together, trying to bring the mainstream and trying to bring more audience in and everything, and build your thing from the ground up. And that's and all of that is, I'm sure, is beyond difficult, but it sounds like you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
And this was my second year. My first event was last year in LA. But the goal is not just to have one show where it's all of pro wrestling. I want it to be female competitive, where they're really going at it, fighting or grappling. Then even a mixed match where there's a guy versus a girl, and then a pro match. Yeah, there you go.
There goes Pete.
I would love to have you in my next event.
I can job. You know what I mean?
But see, this is the thing. You don't have to job. I want you to try for real and see what happens.
Oh, shit. Pete, if that happens, I'm following you the damn camera. I swear to God. Okay? We're gonna make a whole documentary. Pete's last day on Earth.
I think I told my wife, I was like, I want a session for my birthday. You can just watch me get my ass beat. She'll probably fucking help.
Yeah. When's your birthday? I'll fly to Michigan to make that happen.
April 19th.
When? What did you say?
April 19th.
April 19th. Okay.
I told my mom, you couldn't wait one more day? Come on, Mom.
That's true. But for Jennifer, when you do the big events, I assume, is there like a crowd involved, or how does it happen?
Well, this year there wasn't a crowd due to COVID, so I just did live stream.
Yeah,
I did live stream only, but there was a good amount of people that were still there, but they were involved in the show some way, somehow.
Gotcha.
They were either a producer and then they brought some friends because they wanted their friends to experience, because it's different. What I'm doing is different than what's out there right now.
Yeah.
So, it's just kind of like raising some eyebrows that I'm doing. So I didn't mind that the people were there. We had Shelly, the sexy nurse, taking the test of each person getting in the ring,
That's great, though. That's amazing. It sounds. I mean, even during these difficult times, it sounds like you're doing great. You have a good thing going, and I mean, I hope I see you in the next couple of years, maybe in the next 5 years. You have a pay-per-view option for your stuff, and you're on top of this empire that you've built. I hope that happens.
Thank you. And what I've done is I don't want to be like the queen. I grabbed a group of girls that I think that are very, we're athletes, but we have a very good business sense about everything too. And we're just good overall people. And they're like our core. So I don't want to say me or we as a woman, as a group of women.
Yeah.
I would love, okay, so what women's promotion do you know of that's ran by a woman or women? They're kind of like ran by a guy, right? And nothing against men. But I really want to focus on this being ran by women, and seeing where that goes and how it can be different or how it is different,
Yeah, exactly.
The new Khaleesi. Her army, the Unsullied. No, that is great. No, that is a great, like you said, you want to focus your promotion. Like there's been all female promotions, but they're not run by a woman. So this, you're bringing a fresh perspective to this. And especially when it comes to how to book and knowing what the crowd wants and like I said, the psychology to this, the psychology that you use in regular professional wrestling still applies when you're to this aspect of it too. Because like you said, you're merging the two, and it's this marriage of like the underground and the mainstream, meeting together. And yeah, so the psychology absolutely still has to be the same. And yeah, that is like that to me, that's awesome. I love to see this because like I said, I've been a fan of this underground thing that you're not supposed to talk about for so long. And literally like you bring it up to like I would touch, this you don't really talk about it that much to your friends. It's like something you just kind of like, it's like nobody really was into it. It's like about you talk about it's like, well, this like, wait, what? And being involved in wrestling, it became a little bit easier because I have friends that are like mine. It's like, yeah, we it, and we talk about it. I always, like I said, I was a fan. I'm a fan. I would love to, trust me. It's like if I could be, what's his name, Hans or Dante for a little, just be on.
Yes.
Hey,
Hans, yes.
Or it's like, hey, it's like I was joking around with somebody. I think it was Steve from Off Films, Scabelli, at one point. Right? Yep, about being I was like, hey man, I'm like, because I think he followed me on Instagram when I was still wrestling, and I was talking to him, and I was like, hey, if you ever need an extra for a video, just holler, man, I'll fly out, like seriously, whatever.
Well, how about this? I'll put you as male talent on the Women on Fire website, so everybody knows that you might get your ass kicked at one of the shows.
I'm down.
But see, what's so great about you is I could use you for a pro match, right? I could use you for a pro match, and then you could really go against, a female Brazilian jiu-jitsu girl or whatever, and see what happens to you there.
Can we just go light fantasy? Can we just go light fantasy? I know
jiu-jitsu, man, she would rip your head off.
I know the stages of this, and I would just go light fantasy domination. I'm good with that.
I want to give you the best of both worlds, though. Come on now.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Like I said again, terrified and excited at the same time. I don't know.
Oh man, that's wonderful. That's wonderful.
But no, it's such an interesting thing. Now you have worked for there's like a ton of video companies out there, but there's very few that have had the staying power of like a Utopia Entertainment, or what is it, Scissor Vixens and Off Films. You worked for most of the big ones over the course of your career, haven't you?
I have, and again, it's like I didn't ask, I didn't go to them, they all came to me. It's just kind of like, and I didn't even realize who I'm working with at that moment in time. It's not like, oh, I'm working with Utopia Entertainment, but that was kind of like how I was in pro wrestling too. Like I would like I said, I was never a fan, and I would get heat because I didn't know who half the wrestlers were. Like, you know that's Kurt Angle right there? You don't know that's CM Punk right there? And I'm like, no, but okay. Who's CM Punk? Like
you just look like a homeless guy with a lot of tattoos. I don't know.
So the same worked with these big companies. Like I didn't really know who they were. All I know is that they're saying, okay, we'll pay you about this much money to do a video for us. And I'm like, okay, I'll do it. So, I'm like, instead of yes, man, I'm like, yes, woman. I just say yes to everything, especially when money's involved. Well, I don't want to say everything.
Well, we'll preface that by saying not everything. There's an asterisk, right?
Yeah.
There's a few there. It's not evolved mixed wrestling we're talking about here. All right. Yeah, I know the names. No, you got what I'm saying.
I have a question for you though. Like how did you find out about me, or how did you discover me? Did you discover me more in the underground world, or did you discover me from, just from the pro wrestling stuff that I've done?
Well, I remember seeing you do some stuff with Ohio Valley. And then honestly, I believe it was through, I want to say it was probably like a Scissor Vixens video or something like that. And I'm like, she looks familiar. Is this the same? It is, and it is. And I mean, really, hey, like I said, I'm not ashamed. It's something I've been a fan of for over 20 years now. But yeah, I did. It was kind of like an amalgamation of both.
Cool. All right.
But yeah, now I have to ask you about one in particular. You work for Fight Pulse. Now they're overseas, right?
Did you say Fight Pulse?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. In Prague. Mm-hmm.
How was that, like, traveling over there and working for them? Like, you've done that multiple times now, or did you film like a couple different videos in one trip?
I think it was like a one day thing. Like
Okay.
they flew me like a week before, so I got to get over the jet lag, spend a few days, go sightseeing and whatever. And then there was a full day of where it was basically, I don't want to call it an event, but it was just where I did several matches that one day.
Yep.
And that was really cool. It was a lot of mixed wrestling, so I did a lot of beating up the men, which was right up my alley, and I loved every moment of it. And it was a great experience. It's just nice because, again, I'm able to do everything that WWE would have done, travel the world, go, have experiences. I'm just doing it in a different way. And at the event 2 weeks ago in Vegas, I made sure that I had a big quote on the big screen above the ring. And it says, if you do the common things in life in an uncommon way, you will captivate the attention of the world. And that is by George Washington Carver. And so that's how I feel like I've been living my life, as far as I'm doing everything that, just in an uncommon way. That's all. And I'm just waiting for that moment where I can captivate the attention of the world and let the world see what an amazing talent that there is out there that no one even knows about, that we're doing stuff that's unconventional, but is amazing. So I want to showcase that.
And that's awesome. It is great, like you said, just showcasing new talent that people would probably never even hear about. I mean, really, because you have some amazing fighters. Like, I've seen Cena, because she's Hungarian. I'm part Hungarian, so I have a soft spot for that. But she's like legit. Like, I mean, her and
absolutely Warrior Amazon,
Ava Simone. I mean, there's some, and you've got I see she just started training Chelsea Dion. Like,
yes,
she's
the bodybuilder girl, right? Are you talking about the bodybuilder?
The big redhead. Yeah, she's like 5'10", like about 230.
She's like Eve. She's the Eve, bodybuilder Eve.
Yep. Yeah. She's like, I saw her doing a couple spots in the ring on one of your, I can't remember if it was on one of your Instagram accounts, but I was like, she's training to do pro wrestling. I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, wow. I'm like, well, it seems, I mean, but that's for what you're going along with. And that's so cool to see, because it's going to give so many different women that would never get a chance with, like, the Fed. Now it's basically just the Fed, and you got Impact and AEW, but
we have no size requirements. You know what I mean? It's like all shapes and sizes of talent. That's
awesome.
Because like I just think that there's such amazing women, and I don't care if you're size 10 or a size 1. You guys are all amazing in your own special way, and I want you to show that. So I just, that's also another thing that I want to point out. This isn't about being. I want it to be truth. Okay. A lot of stuff that's out there is very commercialized. It's created. It's whatever. And I just want something authentic. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the way you're going and the way you're going about it, trying to get new and different talent and adding that to your I guess roster. I mean, I think that alone will get you to where you want to go and get you where you need to be. And I think people are down right now because of where we are, and just of the virus. I think the things that have happened, we've all kind of run through all the content we have. Almost, they want new things, they want different things, they want things they haven't seen before. Yeah. So I think that's where you're ahead of the game, is that you're right there. It just needs to be seen a few more times by a few more people, shared by a few more people, and you'll be up there. It'll happen.
Yeah, I'm just kind of doing how everything else has happened for me, and just let it evolve, and don't try to force things to happen.
Right.
Let things just happen naturally, organically, because I know I'm on the right track. There's no question that I feel like I'm on the right track. It's just about being patient and learning from my mistakes and what story do I want to put in my mind? Everything that we experience is we have two ways of looking at it. Oh, I totally screwed up. And you feel like a failure and then you quit. Oh, this isn't meant for me. Forget about it. Or you could say, no, this was I'm glad that this happened because now I know exactly what I need to focus on next year to make sure this doesn't happen again. And where can I make this better? And thank you for that experience instead of downing myself or beating myself up for something, So everything is about what you put in your mind and how you interpret things, what your perception is. So,
Yeah, and especially with you dealing with what's going on now in the world and still making content and still doing stuff, still moving forward, I think this is the most challenging time, and you'll be better off when things get back to normal and things get a little easier. So if anything like this happens again or close to it or anything comes up, you'll be able to adapt quickly and still keep going.
Absolutely,
So I think that's important.
I had a lot of people telling me I should cancel the event and do this and that, and I'm just like, you know what? I'll cancel the audience part of it to make it safer, and do live stream, but I'm not going to cancel the event. No, so I'm not going to live my life in fear, basically. And if people choose to participate in what I'm providing for them, that's up to them. And I respect whatever they choose. If they say, oh, I don't feel like it's safe to attend your event, okay, I respect you for that. Stay home. You don't have to come. So, and plus, I feel like this is the time to plant seeds because we're not doing really anything. I'm not working the way I used to work before COVID. So this is my time to create. All this off time right now, don't look at it as a negative. Look at it as, okay, I have extra time now that I didn't have before. What am I going to do with that? Besides, sit and watch Netflix or whatever, I don't know. Nothing against watching Netflix, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. You've chosen to be progressive in the extra time you have now, as opposed to not doing anything.
Right. That would drive me crazy to do nothing. I can't even.
It's no bueno. Yeah, progressive as opposed to complacent is the key here, and that's exactly what you've been. And like you said, that's helping you build this foundation. What you're trying, the house you're trying to build, you've got a foundation laid for it, which is excellent. So that is great. So do you do in your sessions now? You still do sessions, correct? Now, are you doing fully competitive still, or just have you kind of transitioned away from that, or are you doing just kind of lighter stuff now?
I do more the lighter stuff now. I keep it more semi-competitive because it's really no fun when you have a guy that's really like after you, out to kill you, and not like I can't handle them, because I do, for most cases, I handle them. There's only been a couple times, less than 10% do I lose my matches, but the thing is that it makes things too serious. It's like doing an MMA fight, and you're looking at each other like you're going to kill each other. You're like, no, I don't want to. I just want to beat you up with a smile on my face. All right.
Yeah.
Like,
you want to throw him in a head scissor, make him tap out. You can laugh at him a little bit. You know what I mean? Enjoy your time.
Right. But plus I'm getting older too. So I'm trying to think of like my longevity, and I'd rather work smarter, not harder. They say that in pro wrestling all the time: work smarter, not harder. That's what I'm trying to do as well. So yeah, I'm more going to more the semi-competitive, more fantasy. I'm kind of staying away from the lift and carries now because, putting some, 200-pound guy on my back and doing squats with him, I stopped doing that. So, there's some things that I've cut out in my life, but that's just because I don't want to become grizzled.
Of course.
Yep.
I want to stay healthy for as long as possible and stay in one piece as long as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
definitely.
Absolutely. That's key to any wrestling is like, just work smarter, not harder. That's what I said. It's like, you never catch me doing any flip stuff. It's ground and pound and, a few high impact moves here or there. But it was like, for the most part, I'm like, no, I'm just going to walk and talk and feed off the crowd. And I can get a punch over just as good as anybody can get a power bomb over if you do it right. You know, I mean,
exactly.
it's what you put on it. You know,
Less can be more. They say less is more. You know, so. And we have a lot of people that are high flyers that start like doing all this high flying in the beginning of the match. And then it's just like, okay, well, what are you going to do to top this? You know, so, you know, it's kind of like, it's about doing the basics and kind of like putting them on that roller coaster ride where it kind of, you know, feeds up instead of giving them everything at once. So I understand what you're saying, you know, make everything. Al Snow was very good at, you know, making sure that every match told a story and had a reason for everything. There was a purpose for everything that we did. You know, like, why did you take him down to only pick him up? Why don't you go for a pin? Isn't your job to freaking win the match? Like, you know, common sense kind of stuff that we didn't think about at the time.
Yeah. That's, and one of the guys I worked with was trained by Lance Storm, and that was his big thing, is like, there's no wasted motion. Like no wasted motion in the ring. It's like, if you do something, make it count. Like you said, make it for a reason, make it for a purpose. Yeah, you're not just out there dancing around. No, you do things and there's a meaning to everything. So that goes. That's just psychology, you know. And I think that's missing in a lot. And now when you so I want to talk more about like your website and stuff like that. Now you're doing, not only do you have Session Girls, you have the Women on Fire, you have that website, correct?
Well, I just canceled it actually, and I'm going to create another Women on Fire because it doesn't offer the features that I want to have on it. Okay. So like I want to sell like the matches on the website, and they don't offer the feature to be able to monetize the site. So I want to monetize the website. So I'm in the process of switching it over to a new platform right now. Okay. But I definitely still have Session Girls, and that's still going. Well, that's a challenging website to run. It's a love-hate relationship with that website because it's just grown so big, and it's just like, oh shit, like it's turned into a job almost, you know? It's like there's a lot of talent on there to manage. Now you have Session Girl Productions too as well, correct? Yeah, and I have a partner with that, and basically we take in custom. So if you wanted to see a match performed, you contact us, and we make that match happen for you. So yeah, it's like I'm kind of just branching off and creating these different branches off the tree.
Well, that's a smart business model though, because I mean, there's not very many other people in your industry that are doing that, really, are there?
Yeah,
I don't know why. I don't know why. Like seriously, because if you think about it, there's only one other website like Session Girls, and it's WB270.
That's been around forever.
From like the 1997 or something. And it's like a dinosaur. It reminds me of the phone book. Remember the phone? I'm seriously.
Yeah.
So
what?
I remember phones with cords on the wall. That's how old I am. Okay?
Jeez, like how do you like? And I mean, it sounds like you're in the right place at the right time with the right technology, and you're you know, especially if you have your own, I think Session Girls Productions you called it. I guess that's in-house productions you're doing. So you're not outsourcing to anybody else. You have a trusted team of people who do it. So it's all going back to you. Plus you're branching off to do the other. Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it's going, and I mean, it seems like you're on your way up. So yeah, man, it's crazy, but I mean, I've never heard of this stuff, and I mean, I'm excited to learn about it and know more about it because it sounds very interesting.
Yeah, well, we definitely will have to stay in touch then.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know if you're following me on Instagram or not, but if
I'm going to now. I'm going to now for sure.
Because it's at Russell Jennifer Thomas. So go follow me, and I'll follow you back, of course. And like, you know, and I hope that I get to do this show with you guys again in the future. Maybe like, you know,
absolutely. Absolutely. You're welcome.
And maybe I'll have my nucleus with me as well. I call it the nucleus, the group of girls that I said that are helping for Women on Fire. So it won't be just me speaking; it'll be other women giving you how they feel about the business as well, not just
anytime. Honestly,
definitely.
And like I said, you're welcome back. You're welcome back anytime on the show. No, I just appreciate. Like I said, I was just shocked that when I asked her to come on, she was like, "Yeah." I'm like,
Pete probably doesn't message me. He's like, I'm gonna get her to get on.
So yeah, that's my piece of advice for anybody out there. Don't be afraid to ask. It does never hurts to ask, you know? So
Because he was telling me about you, and then like he's like, I'm gonna ask her, and he's like, all right, we got to set up for September 21st on a Monday. I'm like, I'm there, man. That's cool. Just give me all the details. Give me the notes, and we'll do this. I'm there, man. So yeah, it was interesting. You told me you give me a brief background on you, but hearing what you have to say and your business mind and everything, like you're on the way up. I really see it. I mean, once again, I think I think this is going to be the next big thing. I think in at least a year and a half, I'm going to start hearing my friends talk about it. And they're going to be like, oh, have you heard about this? And it was like, I did an interview with her like a long time ago. Yep. I know who she is.
She's on this guy's tiny little YouTube channel.
You guys will always be welcome to be part of the show if you ever wanted to come out. You know what I mean?
I would love to. I would love to check it out. I really would. That sounds very interesting. Yeah.
So definitely. And so thank you to both of you for having me here. And just thank you to all the viewers that have watched this or going to watch it in the future. And I appreciate all of you very much.
Well, it's been awesome to have you on, and I want you to hang out if you can hang out for just a little bit longer, because we talked a little bit off air about this, and I wanted to get your thoughts on the new She-Hulk.
Okay. I can stay longer. I'm just gonna have to find a light because it's getting dark outside, and I'm using the daylight. I want to go in the dark on you guys. Let's see.
But so they cast the new She-Hulk, and let me pull this up here, and I'll do a screen share. This is from geekositymag.com, Mikey Sutton's website. Now it's her name is Tatiana Maslany, and she is from the show, I believe it's called Orphan Black. I had no idea who she is. I was under the understanding, and I think a lot of Marvel fans were, that Alison Brie from Glow and Community was a shoo-in for the role because of what she'd done in Glow. She kind of upped her physique a little bit. It just seemed like she was kind of a natural selection, and everybody was fan casting her in the role. And out of nowhere comes this Tatiana Maslany. Now, if my computer would stop acting up here, which I don't know if it will. But yeah, I just want to get to the photo over here so we can just take a look. And it's blurry, but come on. This thing is not cooperating. There we go. So this is She-Hulk. And like I said, she's been in this Orphan Black show. Outside of that, I looked at her IMDb, not a lot, but this is Jennifer Walters, which I used to love the She-Hulk comics, because Jennifer Walters was like the fourth wall breaking machine, and she was funny, and she was very self-aware, and that's, I think, brought a lot to the character and made her, I mean, obviously, she's big, muscular, and green, but it was like she was funny, she was quippy, and it was like she would just play off jokes. I remember when they said one of the covers was too risque, so the next month she came back and she had herself covered up. She was, oh, is this better? Like, I mean, it's just like, it's stuff like that. So it's like, I was thinking Alison Brie would have been great for this, but as Jennifer and I were kind of talking off air, it's like, can we please get somebody with, an athletic type physique? I mean, to do this, obviously they're going to CG and make her, Hulk, but it's like, can we at least have, a little bit of, some muscle? I mean, is that too much to ask?
Again, it's all about being believable, correct? It's like, what, if you're really She-Hulk, what do you think of She-Hulk? You think of somebody that's like freaking kind of massive, probably like who we were talking about. What's her name? Chelsea.
Oh, yeah.
Just like somebody that had whatever. So
like an Amber DeLuca type,
Yeah, like freaking holy shit.
Yeah. Yep.
She freaking just kicked my ass just with one punch, like the men would be totally fearful of her.
Yep.
So yes, I agree with you that like She-Hulk, you have to be the character in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like you can't make it's kind of like trying to make
what's her name? Popeye, the girlfriend of Popeye, olive
Oh,
oil.
olive oil. Olive oil.
It's like trying to make olive oil to be freaking She-Hulk. No, that's not going to work. You know? So yeah, that's probably why I don't really watch the movies anymore, because it does remind me a lot of pro wrestling. Like, it's just too fake to me. You know? I can't get behind the character because, come on, look at you. My quad is bigger than both your arms put together. You know what I mean? So you know, but so I'm with you on that. I agree with what you're saying there.
Yeah, I always like the city. When it comes to action roles like that, it's like Wonder Woman. I love Gal Gadot and everything, but I'm like, I think Amazon. I'm like, Gail was she was Israeli military, I believe, fitness trainer or some kind of trainer. All right, so she's legit, So it's like you don't want to like knock too hard, but it's like she's just put on just a little bit, like some visible definition, just a little bit, like you said, believability. Amazons, it's a race of freaking warriors, warrior women who are like the baddest around. It's like you see, like they had Brooke Anise, I think her name is, one of the CrossFitters. Was they had a bunch of like female bodybuilders and CrossFitters as like the background Amazons. And here you have like, little Wonder Woman. It's like,
and she's the star of the show.
And she's the strongest one. I'm like, Rick, yeah. Her arms are bigger than mine. Do you see this? I'm like, come on, man.
I know. Like I said, just like wrestling. One movie that I do, it's one of my favorite all-time movies. And this actress, she was like a skinny beanpole, and she transformed herself, and she was so believable in the movie. And I don't know, I'm sure you. G.I. Jane, Demi Moore.
Oh,
okay, yeah.
Like, okay, like, wow, that was one of my favorite movies because she looked the part, she acted the part, everything was perfect about that movie with her in it,
Out there one-handed push-ups and she like legit. It's like she was Demi Moore is like she was badass. Like, yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Linda Hamilton, Terminator 2. She got cut to ribbons for that movie. I mean, she was like the action, she was like the action star. I mean, it was a perfect. Another one I think that has kind of like the athletic look that gets overlooked a lot is Katie Sackhoff, because she is a
definitely.
Talent. And she played she was Starbuck in Battlestar Galactica.
Yes.
She was she was one of the deputies in Longmire. She played a villain in The Flash. I mean, she's, now she's playing Bo-Katan in season 2 of The Mandalorian. And speaking of strong women, we get to talk about one of the most athletic woman who's getting what I call like the equivalent of a push in Hollywood is Gina Carano. And hats off to her, because she is absolutely killing it as Cara Dune. And it's like, I remember watching her fight, when she first started fighting MMA, going, she'll be in Hollywood one day. And then Haywire came out, and I was like, I'm in love. Like, she's like amazing. Like, she's bad. I'm like, she's a legit fighter. I'm like, this is the kind of role. Like, this is who should be playing these roles. I'm like, Angelina Jolie Assault. I'm watching that movie going, no. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Because I mean, like, I remember seeing first time I saw her was in Deadpool 2, and she's like kicking Galactus's ass, and like she had the build for it, she had the muscle tone, she had all that. I'm just like, fuck, man, I would not mess with her at all. Like, no way. And then you see her in Mandalorian, and she's still kicking ass, and I'm just like, good for her for coming up and move, like trying to get into Hollywood, and she's doing a good job, and I hope she does more roles. I really want to see Haywire now because of her. So
yeah, that I did. That movie was great, man. That fight scene with her and Michael Fassbender at the beginning. Like,
shit.
I give credit to him, because it's like there were some of them shots. It's like, I don't know if he had a stunt man or not, but it looked like they were going full speed. I was like, holy shit. Like the Cynthia Roth. We watch a lot of Cynthia Rothrock movies.
Yes, we do.
On our friend's channel. And that woman is a goddess at 60 years old. Like she looks like she can still fight. I mean, she's still like, I think she has a YouTube channel too, doesn't she, Nick?
She does. And she does, she's doing her workouts on there. She does yoga every now and again. And I'm just like, you're 60? Come on now.
She was like one of the most badass karate. Like, she was fighting karate competitively when there was no women to fight against, So it's like seeing her and like Mimi Lesios and stuff like that in action movies growing up. I mean, like I said, I've always had like a fascination with like the athletic females. I always have, and it's like, but it's like so badass to see like Cynthia Rothrock at this age, that's still like, it's like you have taken care of yourself that level, and that speaks to the conditioning and the training and the dedication to the whole thing. So it's awesome to see, and it's great to see like a woman like you building something from the ground up based off the athleticism and stuff like that. And it's awesome, man. As a man who appreciates that and always has nothing but the utmost respect for you ladies, and that is amazing. I'm more than happy for you.
Thank you. And one other thing is age does not matter. Cynthia Rock, she's like what, in her 50s, right? How old is she?
She's 60, I believe.
60, yeah. She's around 60 for sure.
So it's women like her that inspire me, that, you know, that keep me on course, saying, man, if she can do it, I can do it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just such amazing women that just, you know, they just rock.
Yep.
You know, they just do it. So she's an inspiration to me for sure.
She is. She's a great, like I said, she was like, her movies, they don't get enough love. And that's the one thing that we have problems like with you know, they call it, you know, a lot of our fans that were the groups that were part of this, oh, you're just afraid of strong women and all this stuff. And it's like, I don't think you know exactly who you're talking about when you say we're afraid of strong. No, like some of our favorite, you know, movies growing. I mean, look at Star Wars, Princess Leia, Carrie Fisher. She
Aliens, Ripley, Terminator 2. I mean, you know, all kinds of things like that. Yeah.
Yep. And it's like, no, you know, it's like we just like well-written characters that make sense and are believable. You know,
that's right.
That's it.
Maybe that would be a good tagline for Women on Fire. Right underneath it, it just says believable. Or
there you go.
You know,
you heard it here first, folks.
Yeah.
So when are you going to do your next Women on Fire event? Are you planning one now?
Like, it's been once a year, but I'd like to do more, maybe 2 a year. I don't know, because there's kind of a lot to do, and that's a whole other, like, until I can get a team of people, like an actual whatever, like to help me with it, because I feel like this last 2, it's always like all in my hands, and it gets it's like that video game where you're doing all the plates and you're trying to keep the plates up on the stick without them falling. That's what the events are like for me right now. So I need some outside help there to help me balance those plates, because it's just a lot of work.
Booking shows and running a wrestling show is a tremendous headache. I ran shows for a year and never made a dime. You know, we were always running in the red. But no, you have to book talent, you have to book the venue, you have to have insurance, you have to have your equipment, you have to have your sound system, your cameras, you know, your ring crew, you got, you know, everything's got to be right. It's like you got to sell tickets, you got to promote. It's almost impossible for one person to do. It really is. Like you said, you need a team around you that's dedicated, and everybody has a job and everybody knows what that job is. And because without that, it's teamwork makes the dream work. So yeah,
that's right.
My son said that to me, and I was like, "Good boy, man." I'm proud.
Wise son.
He's a little shite. I love him to death, but yeah. No, I'm excited to see where you take this in the future, definitely. And like I said, I'm always happy to be background talent getting beat up or something. So,
all right, cool.
And I would love to come out and check out one of your shows for sure. When you know,
I still have my wrestling gear, so my wrestling gear is.
I want to come and see Pete get beaten up. That's what I want to see.
I want to do it with my channel. If anybody beats me up, it's going to be her. I feel safe with her because she's trained. You know what I mean? And that's it. And that's exactly. It is like, even, you know, a few chokeholds, whatever. I don't care. I'm all right with it. But yeah, more than all right with it. It's fine. It'll be fine.
There you go.
Nick, I'm going to give you front row seats so you can see that right up close and personal.
Thank you. I will gladly. I'll have my phone out and we'll record it so everybody can see.
That's right.
See Pete fight you. Great.
There's Salvador. The stream is bad. And you should feel bad. I love you too, Sal. Sal is one of my best friends. He's a great guy. He does a Zoidberg. If you're familiar with the show Futurama. But yeah, no Keely Chow, you son of a bitch. Jesus Christ. That all stems from that's a bat. I cover Batwoman for my channel, and I joked around. I said Batwoman was such a bad show, and it goes back to believability. You've got 5'7", 100-pound Ruby Rose beating on 280-pound stuntmen who are built like NFL linebackers, and it's like I made jokes about it all the time. I watched the show so much. I said I have a crush on a short-haired Australian lesbian. I'm like, so they automatically like, oh, so you're pegging you now, huh? So that's been the running thing for like a year. I'm like, son of a bitch, and they won't stop. And I'm like, the show just got terrible. And then they replaced Batwoman. Like, what are you gonna do now? I'm like, have you seen new Batwoman? I'm like, she's better looking than Ruby Rose. I'm like, come on, and she actually knows some MMA shit. I'm like, so we're getting some believability up there, and that's one thing. Like I said. I laughed because Ruby Rose is in this new movie. It's like seeing what's her name, Megan Fox is playing like in that movie Rogue, and I'm just like, my dad, who's a Vietnam vet, he's a Marine, ex-undercover cop, bodybuilder, boxer. He's watching that, and he's like, he goes, she's pretty. He goes, but as far as her handling that gun, I don't buy it at all. He goes, I don't. It was called Rogue. I haven't watched yet, but even my mom was like. I didn't like it. She goes, I couldn't even believe her in that. I'm like, well, she weighs like 20 pounds and she's like the head of like a team of mercenaries. I'm like, I just,
jeez.
Yeah, I'm like, I couldn't get it.
I kept seeing inklings of that across the internet. I wanted to watch it, but thank you for telling me it's not that good. I'm not gonna
I haven't watched it.
Like,
it's Megan Fox. I'll give it a try. I watched Transformers. All right. I watched Jennifer's Body, for God's sakes, which Brie Larson auditioned for.
Oh, Jesus.
To correlate that back to your Basmati babe, Nick.
Easy.
we have a running joke that Nick's secretly married to Brie Larson.
Okay.
That's a sugar mama.
Oh, jeez.
Anyway, I don't want to keep Jennifer too long. Thank you so much for joining us, Miss Thomas. Yes. I truly appreciate it. And tell the folks where they can find you. I've got all her contact listed in the her stuff listed in the description to the video. But go ahead and give the folks uno mas one more time where they can find you across social media.
Yeah, well, across social media, it's pretty much Russell Jennifer Thomas on Facebook and Instagram, and at Real Jen Thomas on Twitter. But I very rarely use Twitter. I'm not really a Twitter girl, nor am I a Facebook girl much. So I pretty much can be found on Instagram. That's where I'm at the most. And again, that's at Russell Jennifer Thomas. So that's where you can find me.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. And Nick, you as well, man. I appreciate you hanging out tonight, brother. This is it's a little bit shorter show than usual, but I like to leave them wanting more. And we go quality over quantity here, and I definitely think this has been a quality show with Miss Thomas. And like I said, I thank you so much for coming on, and you're welcome back anytime. Like I said, I'll stay in touch with you via Instagram, because I know you're not, because I've tagged you in the show and stuff on Twitter. So now that I know you're not as active on Twitter, I'll get a hold of you on Instagram. And yeah, that's
please do, and I'll send out this link to my friends or to my fans, fans. And
excellent.
Because a lot of them, are curious about, I don't get to really discuss my life that much. And I think that we did a great job as far as doing that tonight. So thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. And I don't mind sharing it.
Yeah, it's been great.
No, absolutely. And that's what I wanted, was a little bit of, both sides of what you do and just who you are as a person.
Right. Yeah. So, well, thank you. And have a great evening, you guys. And
before you go,
we'll
can give us.
Oh, you want a bicep pose?
I do. I really do. I do.
There you go.
There you go.
Jennifer Thomas flex for me. Thank you. I can die a happy man now.
There.
Thank you.
Put you in one of my famous headlocks. I'm famous for my headlocks, just to let you know. So get ready.
I've seen him on.
What did you say? April 19th? April
19th. Yeah, that's his birthday.
I've seen you throw a mean sleeper, and I'm all right with that. You do a sleeper and body scissor combo. I'm going to tap in about 5 seconds, but it'll be a great birthday present. So, but anyway,
you're a smart man. All right, thank you, guys.
I'm not stupid. Thank you.
All right, bye.
Bye.
See ya.
This has been episode 119 of the Place to Be Reviews. Nick, man, final thoughts. God damn, man. I don't even know what to say. That was
What a story, Mark.
Pete, are you
Yeah.
able to get it? Are you able to get out of your chair comfortably, or do you
Yeah,
need
man.
30 minutes?
No, I'm good. I'm good. That was fun.
Okay.
She was awesome to have on the
She
show.
was great. She was
And
awesome. I think once I talked to her, before the show, and she kind of figured us out. She was cool. Like she had to kind of like feel it out, which is fun. I mean, no, it's all good. I understand. Doing a show you haven't been on before, so.
Yep. And that's what I was glad. I told her, I was like, kind of jump on at 8, and that way we can, kind of talk a little bit, because I said, I want to ask you some preliminary questions, just get you, familiar with the format and everything. So, and I think it worked out well tonight. It was a blast. Let's see, you guys in the chat, who's still here? Keely, Chow, Angelus.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we got 10 people in the chat. Tony, Alex, Salvador. Yeah, and we got her. I had her to get her to throw a flex for me, dude. I was like, oh.
Yeah, make sure you guys are liking the stream, give it a thumbs up and stuff. Help Pete out over here, because if this is popular, he may have her on very soon, hopefully.
And it sounds like she's willing to bring on some of her talent from the Women on Fire, which would be amazing. To get them on here, and yeah, you might even see me get my ass beat out there one time. I might come out of retirement. I'm seriously gonna start training now. I'm not gonna get embarrassed.
Please let me know when you go out there, because I want to go out there with you and film the whole goddamn thing.
It'll be a blast, because it's gonna happen. Whether she comes to Michigan or I go out there for an event, which I mean, it is what it is. It'll be fun either way.
Hey man, if we both meet up in Vegas, it's fucking Vegas,
I'm fine with that. We can go see Mr. Tony Tone Deaf if we're in Vegas. So.
There you go.
We got fam out there. So hey guys, this has been a great episode. Be sure you bitch slap that like button. Go over and subscribe to Jennifer's channel, sessiongirls.com on YouTube.
Oh, shit, yeah.
You can catch some cool interviews and see her throw some scissor holds and some of those famous fucking those choke holds out there. And you can follow her on Twitter, Instagram, Russell Jennifer Thomas. Everything's in the I don't think I put her Instagram in the bio, but I will add that in, and I will tweet that out later. I have been Etepo Kuin of the Place to Be Reviews, joined by Big Rig Nick Utam from World Class Bullshitters tonight on episode 119 of the podcast. And thank you, man, again for coming on. And it's always great working with you, brother.
Yeah, it is. I was excited to do this one when you kept hyping it up and telling me what she was doing and everything. I was like, this is extremely interesting and something I've never heard of, and I wanted to know more. And she was really good at, And once again, like I'm a fan of anybody trying to start their own business and do their own thing, regardless of who you are. Yeah. It's rough either way. And her finding her niche and her finding the thing she's doing, especially during this year and what we're going through right now, is she's moving forward with it. I'm extremely excited to see what she does, and I want it to almost be, I want it to be an AEW or a TNA or something, to the point where people know it and they buy the
streams and stuff.
The pay-per-view or stream. Yeah, I hope it happens with her, because I mean, she's got a good thing going.
Yes.
She's got a really good thing going. Really good, motivation, really good head and her shoulders. She's really, wanting to make it a big thing. And I mean, I'm down for that. I'm down for something different. I think everybody is, and I think she's going to succeed. And it's going to be really, really interesting to see what happens.
It is. It'll be a fun journey to follow. And like I said, it's a blast. And we're going to have her back on the show. She will absolutely come back on. And I'm glad she felt, comfortable being on tonight. And she seemed like she had some fun, and, she kind of got to talk about herself a little bit, which she said she doesn't get to do very much. So it's great just bringing her to a new audience and getting her definitely some new fans. So thank you guys for hanging out in the chat. I do appreciate all of you. And remember, if I don't see you guys, have a great day.